You just told me you could make anybody sound more like Jobim. Is it true?
Of course it's true. give me your least Jobim thing you can think of.
Star Wars.
Yeah, like the Darth Vader. Da, 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 da.
Whatever you like, try it. Yo, John Williams, he may have been influenced.
I'm telling you, it works. And I'm going to explain why.
And we have these 4 ways that you can sound more like Jobim in your writing, and we'll take you through every one of them, and we're going to prove to you that you can do it too.
So pick up some paper and pencil. You're going to also write a few bars in Jobim style. We have to try to dissect the language of that composer and come up with some important characteristics that we can emulate. And it may feel a little bit like a parody in the beginning, but that's how you kind of do things like that. You have to imitate to a certain degree, okay? The history of the evolution of music is the history of theft.
Yes.
That's it, you know? With love. Theft with love.
Theft with love. So let's steal away, brother. And if diving into any of this is exciting to you, give us a subscribe. So Henrique, take us into the first tactic.
Holding notes over changing chords. Let's say that I have a 3, 6, 2, 5, 1 progression, you know? Jobim would probably choose a note. Maybe he would choose a G.
So
he was
neighbor tone.
G, 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 G all the time, and at the end, you know, you give a little grace to that note. So many times, if you have a harmonic progression that you love, try to see if there's a common tone that you can sustain for a long time. And use that note. He's the master of common tones and pivot notes.
This is an amazing compositional skill, whether you want to write like a Jobim or not. Learning how to use notes effectively over multiple changes, these are all going to be pieces of your toolkit that you're going to use all the time as a composer. So worth digging into. Number 2.
Number 2 is melody that outlines specific tensions. So the melody is normally a tension in relationship to the chord. Very often composers write in a way where the melody is normally the root or the third. You know, Jobim loves when the melody is the major 7th, or when the melody is the 11th of a half diminished chord. And then that half diminished chord is triggering some sort of a 2-5-1. And sometimes this 2-5-1 is not going to be in the key you're expecting, and that's kind of the magic of it. So let's say I'm going to harmonize Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Jobim would probably write a melody. Already, and you know, and just hold that twinkle for a long time. Feel the breeze of the beach, you know.
Oh.
You see what I'm doing here?
Oh,
I took
fantastic.
the first note, G, transformed into the major 7th of a chord. It became an A flat major 7. Then when I went to twinkle, twing, to the D on top, I transformed the D into the 11th of a half diminished chord. And that triggers. Right? But then the melody goes twinkle, 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 little star. Another one. So I could go maybe another half diminished chord. Or transformed into the 7th. So I'm using either major chords with major 7th or half diminished chords that are triggering 2-5-1s.
And my goodness, did Twinkle Twinkle sound like a Jobim tune?
And again, like there's something about like Jobim was a master of balance, and that's actually number 4, is achieving a good balance in terms of complexity and simplicity.
But we're not quite there yet. We need to do number 3 first. Don't give it away.
Okay, but let's cover number 3 first. Okay.
And before we do that, we have some great resources on our website. It all supports our channel, including a brand new course on bossa.
If you want to learn how to play this music on piano and guitar and really learn the rhythms, the differences between bossa and samba and stuff like that, there's a full course that's now for basically for anyone, advanced and beginners, available on our website.
All right, and number 3.
Number 3, chromatic bass motion. Okay, chromatic bass motion.
Let's go. This is my This is my favorite. This is how I write music. If all bass motion was chromatic, I would be a happy person.
You are basically a lament. So at the same time that I'm keeping my melody stable, I'm shifting my bass notes half step down. Of course, the chords are changing, but you know, there's a sense of like the static melody and descending bass line. So a tune like Eu Te Amo, who's in my opinion one of the most beautiful. Chromatic motion. Number 4 is kind of like the voice of reason, and it tells us that you should try to achieve a balance between complexity and simplicity.
The tendency is always to overstuff it with things, overstuff it with tensions and harmonies, and when really a lot of times a simple triad can do the job. So yeah, how does Jobim model this for us, that juxtaposition between complexity and simplicity?
So he would use like one of those, for example, chromatic progressions, or one of these harmonizations where you have chords that are very unexpected, but then he would compensate by having like the most delicious, easy 2-5-1, or something that really brings you home with no surprise. In the end, he's just gonna play something that almost sounds like a children's song.
And this is like so many of the great composers of the 20th century who really looked to folk music, folk song, children's songs to incorporate. And maybe this is a theme in 20th century composition.
Absolutely. It's a type of folklorismus. It's a way to also redefine your national identity.
And I honestly think that this is the paradox of becoming more, of learning more and more about harmony, is the more you learn, the more you are convinced that maybe you need to employ everything that you know all the time. And the reality is that we need to be always having this relationship.
And if it feels intuitive, if it feels like it's coming from your heart, there's no reason why not to do it.
Just listen, guys, just listen to your heart.
You know, Jobim used to say like he doesn't write with the pencil, he writes with the eraser only. He's a master of restraint.
So, buddy, we've got the 4 tools. Maybe we can write something.
Okay, so everybody, pick a piece of paper, write down treble clef 4/4. This is gonna be Bossa Nova in 4. And
we love
you need the initial pitch, and let's try to keep that note for a long time to fulfill number 1, which is the idea of long melodies and changing chords. So Tim, what pitch would you like to start with?
Let's just pick like a B.
If we're gonna use some of Jobim's favorite chords, he either gonna transform that B into the major 7th of a chord or the 11th of a half diminished chord.
So let's just do C major. Start.
C major. Let's keep that note for the 2nd bar. Okay. Now maybe on the 3rd bar, let's change the chord.
Well, let's just go to that half diminished, so F sharp half diminished, and then do a 2-5. So F sharp half diminished to a B7.
So now what you have so far is good. We can change things later. Now maybe you can change that note in the melody. It's been too long. Where do you want to go? You can go anywhere.
Go down a half step. Let's take it to B flat.
How do you want to harmonize this B flat?
Yeah, so let's do it as the the 11th of an F half diminished.
F
And
half
then
diminished. Very good.
And then go to a B flat 7.
So let's hold that F half diminished for 2 bars, and then here we can add your B flat. If you want to hold that B flat for 2 bars, you can maybe do sus the first time,
Yep.
and then the second time you can do flat 13th or whatever you want, or 13th, flat 13th, same thing. Sure, maybe Jobim would have words, so you would imagine that like that note is either going to be repeated or he's going to alternate between that note that you're holding and something half step up, like a neighbor tone. For you know?
Let's just do up a half step. Da 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 da. Maybe let's play like a G sharp. Or an A
Good.
flat.
Yeah. Right? I also hear that.
Well, let's do it as a major 7.
Okay.
So
So
like,
it would be
so if it's a G sharp, it would be the A major.
good. So let me respell that to G sharp. Let's do A major.
So now we've briefly gone from C major into E flat minor, now into A major.
Now, here's the magic. If you want to use the third tip that we discussed about chromatic harmonies, you can think about like, oh, maybe your next chord could be something half step below A major. You're here.
Oh,
Right? Like a G sharp augmented. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then give them a little vanilla since we're about to end.
let's do like D flat major or C sharp.
C sharp, beautiful. Here, 16 beautiful bars. a la
Oh, I
Jobim.
can't wait to hear it.
Jobim, 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 Jobim. Well, well, well.
It's fantastic.
You may think like, oh, but I'm following all these formulas. Am I really composing if I'm doing that? Oh, hell yeah. You know,
Yeah.
I'm just offering you like very specific choices to make. And then of course, take this wherever you want. But remember, eraser. Just keep erasing things.
And keep trying and trying again. If you want to learn more about Bossa, go to our website. And until next time.